So not only did we see Alan, and there's more to Alan's TikTok as well. Let's do this quickly while we're here. Let's do TikTok. TikTok, it doesn't even come up. There you go, Armchair Detective TikTok. So he did another TikTok. So literally what happened was we called him out live on the internet for being a fucking creepy pervert, yeah? He deleted the one with the spooky skeletons. That's gone. The one with the balaclava is gone. He's left this one up to try and pretend that he did it deliberately when he obviously didn't. And he did another TikTok to make it look like he's really pretend. Obviously, I was actually using TikTok. No, honestly. I wasn't doing any pervert shit. I was actually using TikTok. Do you want to see it?
Hello.
Look at the filters on it. His face is an entirely different colour. The lights are all like soft focus and changed. Like entirely different colour.
Hello, I am the Armchair Detective.
And look at his eyes. Like, the man is an arse. This might come out as a really quick, hopefully we can maybe at the end of, maybe this gets dropped as a really quick video rather than a, maybe I cut this and put it on YouTube as a really quick video. Look at his eyes. That's the filter doing that then, yeah? That's not because you're secretly a lizard man. Like, what the fuck is going on with his eyes? He looks like an artificial intelligence picture of himself. Look at his eyes. So much of him now is being produced by filter that he's lost all human characteristic here, hasn't he? Like, what's going on? He's turned into Robo Alan, scary, psychotic Robo Alan.
I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to work out... Look at that light up there. That's annoying you. Hang on.
The light up behind his head is annoying you. It's annoying him. It's because of where you're sitting and the way you're holding the phone, isn't it? Who's he talking to? That's annoying you. And he's wearing all black.
That's better. Do you remember me? I used to be on a thing called YouTube.
Creepo.
Yeah, not anymore. I'm now on somewhere called Rumble.
Creepy. And I'll tell you what's really weird as well. Is this his own furniture? Because I thought this was the same furniture he was sat on in the video where he came back from the hospital and he was being waited on by members of his family. So is that you were staying at home when you were supposed to be waited on and no one was really helping you? Or is it you're now at this moment recording this video from someone else's house? Or is that your sofa? Like, it's all a load of shit anyway, Alan. I don't like you.
Are you ready to rumble?
Look at this though. Look at this. Like, have you ever seen anything more creepy in your life? Big ups in chat, Jamie, Smarty Hearty, Michelle, big ups. Look at this. And you know from the previous, from literally the previous TikTok.
Oh look, I've got accessories on my head.
Do you know what he looks like and what his teeth are like and all that? Yeah, there he is. So why all of a sudden would you think that by doing this it makes you look good? Like, it doesn't make you look good. It's the opposite, isn't it? If anything, isn't it the opposite? Doesn't it make you look fucking creepy and weird? Like a fucking sicko. The hairs on your nose are still being... you haven't done anything with it. You could have cut them out with a literal physical pair of scissors. You didn't have to have them on. Whatever's going on up your nose.
Hello. I am the Armchair Detective. I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to work out... Look at that light up there. That's annoying you. Hang on. That's better.
Creepy.
Do you remember me?
No.
I used to be on a thing called YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, not anymore.
No.
I'm now on somewhere called Rumble.
Yeah?
Are you ready to rumble?
Not with you, you fucking weird pervert.
Are you ready to rumble? Yes or no? If you are, go to Rumble and
Why are you out of breath?
Armchair Detective.
And go to Rumble and put in Armchair Detective. Like, who are you talking to? Go to Rumble and put in Armchair Detective. wade through all the troll channels and pick the real one. Like, who does he think he's talking to? Who does he think he's watching? Is he talking to, like you know when he gets like 300 views on a thing, and it's always the same people who are watching his thing twice, and like, you know, Nancy's got it on 2 computers and a microwave to try and increase the, like, he's always talking to the same people. No one is watching this, Alan, that like knew. You're thinking, who's this man? Maybe I should check him out on Rumble. I quite like it over here on TikTok, which is where I'm watching videos, but I will close TikTok as an app and move over on Rumble, because this man with the eyes has just told me to, on the random on TikTok. Like, who does he not understand how things work?
You can meet me there at 10:15,
right,
where I'm doing tonight's show.
10:15 where I'm doing tonight's show. This one was uploaded 3 hours ago. So wait, one of them's, no, this is unfair, this is annoying. There was another one that's in the middle that I've lost, that's been lost. Fuck, I'm going to have to work quicker on this. There was a TikTok before this one, hang on. In the middle of these two, there was one before this one. Maybe it's on my phone and not, because my phone and my desktop weren't showing and were showing. He said it was yesterday, and he said, the show's coming up in 10 minutes, so make sure you're all there. This is AD on TikTok, and he did his teeth and the filter. Yeah, that happened yesterday, and it was almost like in response to us catching him out doing the noncing. You know, he did the noncy he did the noncy one, yeah? Then it was like he'd seen us doing that, and he'd gone, shit, I've been busted. And then he quickly made a TikTok as if he was using it to... Fucking TikTok. As if he was using it to advertise his stream. No, it's gone. It's been deleted.
Hello, I am the Armchair Detective. I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to work out... Look at that light out there.
I can't find it, yeah. Weird. So he is deleting things, but he didn't delete the noncy one for some reason. Like, what the fuck is he doing? So he's now trying to pretend that he's regularly going to upload to TikTok to try and promote. And he doesn't, like, this is, I'm going to have to say it straight. You make videos for TikTok, or you make videos for Rumble. People on TikTok don't want to see a TikTok advertising your Rumble. They're not on Rumble, they're on TikTok. They don't want to watch Rumble, they want to watch TikTok. Using another platform to cross-promote, you're like, oh, well, I'm doing YouTube videos, so I'll get a Twitter, and I'll just, like, because I tweet when I'm going live. I'm tweeted this that I'm doing it, but I also tweet other content, so you've got a reason to look at my Twitter, other than just me shamelessly self-promoting. Like, if you just use other social media platforms to promote your other media platforms, the people on those social media platforms will bin and ignore you, because I don't want to be advertised to about your other platform. I'm on this one. Either make content for me that I'm watching, or fuck off. Stop. Like, it's bad enough we've got actual advertisers on platforms without human beings adding to the dirge of advertising for their own other shit. Please come over to my Rumble, and once you're at my Rumble, please, it's like a chain of events. You have to watch this on TikTok, think that this is good for a start, then go over to Rumble. He hasn't given you a value proposition here. I am AD, watch me on Rumble, but you look like a nutter. What is it that we're tuning in for? I haven't decided whether I like you or not yet, and already you're asking me to move over to Rumble. It's weird, you know. And then you go over to Rumble, and he's like, right, now you're here, can you also go over to somewhere else called Locals and give me some money? And could you also go over to Patreon and give me some money over there as well? And if you could sign up to Facebook, that would be good. And you're like, when can I stop? When does the content start? This is some sick behaviour, this is.
Hello, I am the Armchair Detective.
And as I say, we've lost a video in between the two. There was one a bit like this. He was in his room with his little pink lights on behind, and he said it was like, he was obviously drunk, and he was promoting the show yesterday. And also, this is the point of this. He's like, come on to my show, it's on in 5 minutes. So this TikTok is now dead in the water, because your show has happened, and you're advertising it like as if it's this narcissistic view that I've done a TikTok, which means my TikTok's gone live now. Everyone in the world will be watching that right now. He doesn't realise people will come to this TikTok later and see this, and that therefore this time-sensitive content that was time-sensitive by about 10 minutes is now dead, defunct, useless. Like, that's not how marketing works, Alan. You're doing it wrong. And the fact that we've lost one video in between the two is a real shame. It's a real shame. because that would, it goes on the canon of real things that happen. Not dissing the dyslexia, but this, I will copy and paste it exactly as it is written here into chat, so it's above my head. I think I get in the hang of the tactic. Is he doing that for a joke? He's like deliberately trying to pretend that he's dyslexic. And AD now lives on Rumble, Did he add that? Is he getting the hang of this? I believe that because he had these other videos that he had uploaded, this, for example...
Armchair Detective, I've had an alien visit my set while I was doing...
I don't think he makes that video and uploads it. As we've discovered from his YouTube shenanigans and his problems, he's not uploading the videos himself to YouTube. So how would he start uploading this to TikTok himself? I think someone else, again, has got details on the account and linked into it and, has uploaded that. And so Alan said, oh, uploading to my TikTok, are we? We're doing that, are we? So maybe this is for her, for them. Tracy and Lee Souza and this Tracy are both heart faces on this for some reason. So maybe that's for them. He didn't realise it was live, or he's I think it's noncing, of course. But he's now, right, if you're doing it, I can send you a thing. I'll give you, you can then edit it and put it up. Like, is he doing this? I think only he can be doing this because of the filter. Like, no one's going to make themselves look like some kind of fucking 80s sci-fi sex mad bondage horror, sci-horror, Hellraiser, Max Headroom rape attacker, are they? Like, no one's going to go for that filter themselves. So maybe someone's doing it to him, but no one's going to do that to him, so maybe he's doing it to himself. I don't know, man. This is so fucked. This is so fucked.
Oh, hello. I am the Armchair Detective. I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to work out... Look at that light up there. That's annoying you. Hang on. That's better.
That was exactly something I commented on. He's watched our stuff, noticed that we caught him out for noncing on TikTok, and he's trying to blag that he was using it for real purposes. Honestly, dressed in the costume of the abuser again, with the all black, like he's been, doing some noncing.
Do you remember me? I used to be on a thing called YouTube. Yeah, not anymore.
Nonce.
I'm now on somewhere called Rumble. Are you ready to rumble? Are you ready to rumble? Yes or no? If you are...
No one's talking to you.
Go to Rumble and put in Armchair...
Do you think you could leave your fucking nose alone? Like, is he on drugs? Who's made this decision and left this up on the internet? Is he on drugs? And then, do you think... The reason I say about drugs as well, because he's touching his nose. Like, I can get through recording a 1 minute fucking TikTok without picking my nose. I'm sure you can too, Alan. What's that about?
Are you ready to rumble? Yes or no? If you are, go to Rumble and put in Armchair Detective.
Put it in.
And you can meet me there at... Hello.
The thing up his nose.
And you can meet me there at 9:45, where I'm doing tonight's show. I'm not a bad person.
Yes, you are. You look like a fucking sicko. You look like a fucking sick. You're not just bad. You're the worst. You're a sicko. Look at him. I'm not a bad person. That's Jimmy Savile bearing down on you. I'm not a bad person. Sicko.
I just can't get on with YouTube. YouTube.
So it's that you're not bad, you're just out there. I noticed today when I fired up Rumble earlier, right? I noticed today, no offence to Mizkiv. Oh look, it's not on there now. There he is, Mizkiv, hang on. I was surprised, I didn't know he was on, look, Mizkiv on Rumble. He was in an organisation. They were a gaming organisation. Asmongold was part of it. OTK they're called, the One True King crew. He used to be on Twitch. He's not on there. He used to be really big. He used to be really big on Twitch. He's not on there anymore because of a sex scandal, sex offence. One of them things. His other friend was sex accused of doing a raper. He got done for that. So he's on there. Alan. But no, we're not on Rumble at the moment, are we? We're on TikTok, remember? We're getting the kids on TikTok, explaining why we're not a bad person, doing this with our face. Like, this is so fucking... Like, can anyone in... I need you in chat to start, like, I need some words on this. I need some more words on the face. I'm looking above my head here. I need some more words on the face. I'm running out of... Like, there's got to be words to be said about this face. Like, this is a choice. This is a filter. This is an idea, a design. This is like, what's he doing with his face? What does he look like? He looks like the man that they wanted to photo fit for Madeleine McCann, doesn't he? He looks like he honestly looks like a sex pervert creeper pest. Like, there's something so scary about it. He's not got normal blue eyes like nice people. He's got like sort of like scary steel eyes, like pink lips and creamy skin. He looks like a sex robot or something, like a bad sex robot, like a what is this? What even is it? It looks like a Ken doll. It looks like that's what it is. It looks like an Action Man or a Ken doll. The lips and stuff. It looks like a Ken doll that's been witness to a child's cheese pizza abuse ring. It looks like a Ken doll that got fired off the roof and has seen too much. It looks like Ken doll with a 1,000-yard stare. Jessica says there are drugs in his nose. The pupils need to be hidden. He removed his TikTok vid and you spoke about people on drugs. Could be. You know, in his desperation, in his feeling low, he might have got himself a little bag of powder. Now, 100% he's watched us, because the one thing got deleted, even though I didn't bring it up on live on stream. The video in between this got deleted that I didn't manage to bring up. But he literally commented on the things that, you know, he 100% watches us. 100%. And he deleted the balaclava video. And I had said the light fitting is up above, and like, so he commented on that. He's 100% watching. We always know he does. It's called the Ken doll filter, is it? Is that what it is? Why would you do it to yourself? You look like a sex offender. Like, you literally look like one of those fucking... You know what he looks like? You know those twins? They died, sadly, but they were like... They weren't sex offenders, but they were like... What am I trying to do? They were like two Russian twins that had all the plastic surgery. Fuck me, man. I need to get better on this. I need to be more Malcolm Tucker. I need to be sharper with my insults and wit here. Because there's got to be... I'm telling you, this video that I'm going to cut from this, and it'll only be a little short one, I think, just to try and react to Alan's TikTok up. But, like, this is the most disgusting face I've seen in such a long time. You know, it's a thing of nightmares, and there must be some cheeky, clever comments to be put together about this face, you know. The Ian Huntley Ken doll. Bogdanoff brothers, that's them. Looks like one of the Bogdanoff brothers' cousins. He looks like the Bogdanoff brothers' inbred cousin. What the fuck is he doing?
YouTube have rules and regulations that don't really work with the Armchair Detective. They don't. It doesn't work. Anyway, it's nice to see you, and I'd love it if you can join me on Rumble tonight at 9:45. Please do it now. Join Wumble. Not Wumble, Rumble.
All this heavy breathing.
Anyway, it's nice to see you, and I'd love it if you can join me on Rumble tonight at 9:45. Please do it now. Join Wumble. Not Wumble, Rumble. Wumble. I haven't got a lisp. Rumble. Let's get ready to... You know it. Hello. I am the Armchair Detective. I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to work out... Look at that light up there. That's annoying you. Hang on. That's better. Do you remember me? I used to be on a thing called YouTube. Yeah, not anymore. I'm now on somewhere called Rumble. Are you ready to rumble? Are you ready to rumble? Yes or no? If you are, go to Rumble and put in Armchair Detective.
You are a bad man.
And you can...
You are a bad man. You are a bad man. You are a bad man. Bad. Not nice. Scariest. That, look there. Oh, that's the man. That's the man, isn't it? The real face is under there somewhere, isn't it? There's a layer of filter. There's a layer of sin. There. That's Alan. That's my react for Alan's content. And the reason he's doing it is because he was just going to be uploading, clearly, he was just going to be uploading these sort of edited, they've got a track record of doing it, look, one of his team, obviously, because he doesn't do it, takes one of his YouTube videos and just forces it into TikTok's upload system, even though they haven't edited it for the... You could do a much better job of editing these for the ratio, but they don't. So they've been doing that, putting these shit videos up, getting 300 views, shit, yeah? And then all of a sudden this popped up, didn't it? And we busted him. So now he's got to pretend that that was deliberate and that he's using TikTok, when actually that was a mistake. He was only going to intend to have these edited ones. He's not uploading them. He got involved and he fucked up. And now here we are again. And now he's using TikTok, pretending that he's going to be using it on the regular. And his intent of using it is to advertise his own stream to the people that already watch it in a fucking weird and creepy way. Yeah, that's what you were doing, Alan. Yeah, that's why you did this.
Oh, look, I've got accessories on my head. Oh, I don't know. I made this.
Yeah, that's why you did that. And you definitely didn't do any noncing. And with the balaclava thing, you definitely didn't take that down deliberately because you were, you know, creepy and fucking weird. And yesterday's video promoting yesterday's stream, that's gone as well, hasn't it? Because you look weird and drunk and like you were trying to cover your ass. So, bit sad, really. Say a bit sad. I mean, it's fucking scary. It's getting to the point where he's like manic, desperate, creepy, weird. The other, like, I wouldn't put it past him being an actual sadistic murderer. Definitely nonce. Yeah, his poor kids. Poor Scarlett. I mean, that's Scarlett for definite. Luke probably as well. I don't know if the other one. But definitely those two. Definitely Scarlett is. Poor kids. Slick he thinks he's only just getting started. He's slowing down. He's rumbling out. He's petering out on Rumble. I mean, obviously he will copy what we've done. He will literally just rip it off. And like all the things I've just said, he'll try and make it into this Alan's new case. The whatever the name of the man was, the man, this man, Alan's new case, that'll be, won't it? As soon as he cottons on, 'cause you watch, tomorrow, that'll get back to him. He's shameless about it. He'll be absolutely barefaced shameless about it. He won't care. He'll call it Chris Watts 2023 like I've called it. Chris Watts 2.0. Something like that. You know, new Chris Watts again, or you know, he'll try and think of something clever. He won't, and he'll end up using what we've said. And he'll ride my coattails now forever. Wait, get the right windows. He'll ride my coattails now, but I don't get. Like honestly, on YouTube, he was stealing my content, plagiarizing it, and going like directly in sort of competition with me by stealing my content. Whereas over here and on doing this, I don't care too much. Like, you know. He is going to steal content I can't physically stop him, but this is what happened, Alan, because you did that. And, you know, now I'm happy for you to just be rolling around in the shit on Rumble. I don't know, steal the content, go ahead. Like, see what happens with you. Like, it's not going well for you. It's not going to suddenly explode into life on Rumble. He is fucking done as done can be. And evidence, I'll tell you what, by the fact that look how shit this looks, yeah? Look at his shit decisions, and it's never going to get any better. It's just not. And it doesn't, like we found out, like I said, we discovered it's not about it getting better, really. Alan doesn't care. Otherwise, he would have made it better. What he cares about is that Melissa Marvelous and Kate, Mick and Sam I Am MVVP and Elizabeth, they think he's a big shaker and mover because he's got loads of people watching. And he's just pathetically playing to that small crowd. I've said it loads of times. So, like, let's see what he said about at the start and the end of today's broadcast. But I'm not going to go fine-tooth comb through it. There was one moment I wanted to pick out where he was particularly racist, but because Rumble's not particularly good at allowing you to skim through and find things, I might just bin it off. Are you right?
Wow.
Wow.
Good evening. My name's Alan. I am the Armchair Detective.
You are. Well, you're not really, are you? You're not really in an armchair, and you're not really a detective.
I'm deeply saddened by the world today. What's going on?
Yeah, state of the world today, you're deeply saddened by it, of course. Yeah, real, absolute humanitarian you are.
Deeply saddened. I'm just waiting for the sign that I'm on air. I guess it will be coming soon. Normally takes a minute to warm up.
Don't you just assume that you're live because you've gone live?
So let's have a look. I'm live. Yeah. So you'll be seeing me shortly.
We can see you now. If you're live, we can see you now.
If not already. Good
Yeah.
evening.
Buffoon.
Israel's 99911. 9/11. So you'll be seeing me shortly. If not already. I mean, I've seen some sad things with the war in Ukraine.
You see nothing.
But this.
You see nothing. You don't know where to go and see. Listen, right? I am a savage. Let's get this straight. I am a fucking savage. I grew up with the internet. I've seen all the websites, not the child cheese ones, not like Alan, not in that way, but, you know, the live leak and the live gore and the, you know, real war stories and the beheadings and the, you know, all that stuff, all the videos that you know, the horror bad videos that go on. It's the real world and it's the truth. And like, I've been looking recently, last couple of days, at those videos from Israel Palestine. Like, there are some fucking horrific things that have been going on. Yeah. I think Alan's probably just been watching the news, and like, it's kind of sanitized on the news. Like, you don't actually see the raw footage.
Today, I don't know where to start.
You don't know where to start because you don't know what the fuck's going on, do you, Alan? Why don't you start with the historical divide between Israel and Palestine? Why don't you start with the institution of the State of Israel? Why don't you start with well, you could go back to like Saladin, couldn't you? The Crusades, Jerusalem. Why don't you start with the difference between, or the similarities even between the Abrahamic religions that contest the occupation of Israel, and why specifically Jerusalem is such an important religious place. And that's why it might make sense for the Palestinians just to pack up and go home, or maybe the Israelis should just like give them a bit more room. But no, there's a serious religious important. Maybe you could start with the fact that one of the Israeli members of government went to and set foot in a very religious Islamic place that the last time an Israeli minister went and set foot in it kicked off a fucking massive war. So like, it might be that you should kick off with like some of the understanding of the situation. It might be that you want to talk about how Hamas are not the only party in power in Palestine, or they are, but there are two other parties vying for power, one of which is particularly hard line, and if Hamas didn't go hard, then they would lose power maybe, and these other people might take over, and they might go even harder, and the precarious position of being caught between a rock and a hard place. Maybe you should talk about how there's a difference between organised attacks, hostage taking, and random people on motorbikes and cars going and fucking grabbing women off the street because they want to rape them to death. Like, you know, maybe you could talk about all sorts of stuff, Alan, but you don't know about any of it, and you're going to read the news today and find out, and then say some really racist shit over the top.
I guess it's because of social media that we social media.
Not you anymore, Alan. You're anti-social media now. You don't like YouTube. You've been banned. You're on the anti-social media now. You're on Rumble.
You the news.
You're not bringing people the news, Alan. You're watching the news on your channel. Like, watch. I'll just skip on. This is Sky News on Alan's channel. Alan, you are rebroadcasting the mainstream news agenda. That's all you are.
Media bring you the news. The people that went to a music festival in Israel to dance the night away had cameras, and they sent us it.
They didn't send you anything. Reuters has been. Like, do you know how it works, Alan? They didn't send you anything. Stuff will get through local arbitration, eventually picked up by Reuters, confirmed, and then that'll be re-reported by the mainstream media, and you'll be seeing the same sort of footage on many different channels. Like, it's come from the official Reuters, and then they use it. They don't tend to, depending on like which mainstream you're watching, they don't tend to sort of go digging around getting random shit. Big ups Woo Boo Loo. Big ups Woo Boo Loo.
Propaganda, no dressing it up as whatever.
Well, you're going to be completely dressing it up. It's going to be 100% propaganda and dressing it up, Alan, because your videos that are videoed by the people on the ground on their phones are just really shaky, like, oh my god, I'm scared, there's some guns happening, and then that's what you see on the news, and then the news dress it all up, and that's what you're going to show on your thing, and you're going to put your spin on top of that. So it's spin on spin. Like, even the people who film it on their phones, yeah, like, they might have their own agenda and decide who they think the goodies and baddies are. Like, I don't know, man. I just think Alan's really confused about how news works here.
A massacre today of men, women, children, old people, young people, babies on our screen.
Babies, they weren't at the music festival, but yes. And it's been horrific, don't get me wrong. You know, this whole thing I think is horrific. But I'm not judging that. I'm judging Alan's performance on reporting of it.
Screens.
Even the damn filter can't get rid of the fucking cheese grater on the side of his head, the cheese grater effect up the side of his head. One day his ghastly appearance is going to get him convicted of a crime by someone spotting a ham hock of a hand on YouTube, not on YouTube, sorry, on a cheese pizza video somewhere.
And it's something I never expected to see, you know?
You never expected to see it. We saw it in like 2008, didn't we? Like, isn't Israel and Palestine like a constant repeat? Were you not aware of what's been going on in Syria, Iraq? Like, you didn't expect to see this. I mean, me personally, I didn't expect Hamas to do what they did, no. But then when I looked into it, I was like, well, it looks like they were provoked. And it looks like the last time they were provoked like this is how they reacted. So maybe if you knew more about it, you might sort of expect it after you saw the Israeli behaviour going into the special Islamic place. Now, let me just get that straight. The conversation. Why did Palestine attack Israel? Where is it? I was reading this yesterday. God, news moves fast, doesn't it? Well, basically what I said anyway. Like, look it up.
I feel it's my duty to bring it to you.
I feel it's my duty to bring it to you, meaning I'm fucking got nothing. Thought I'd just do the news today. I've got nothing. No one's brought me any stories to report. They thought I'd do the news, thought I'd talk about the news. Palestine. Boring, tragic, waste of everyone's time. They can watch the news on their own. They don't need Alan, but, you know, I thought I'd rebroadcast Sky News for you tonight to try and grift some monies. And he knows his heart's not in it. He knows it's shit what he's doing. He knows this is a transparent grift, because Alan's perspective on this is nil and void. As he just said, he doesn't understand it.
Entirely. So you know what I know. Now, I was born in 1955, 9 years after the Second World War. So most of the grown-ups I knew the horror of war. And I used to ask them, tell me about the war, Grandad. What do you want to know about the war for, John? It's awful. And my own father was at his torpedo boat sunk at sea, you know, when he's one of the few survivors. Never told me about it.
How'd you know?
But this today, this isn't the war that he knew. This is 1,000 terrorists going into Israel, parasending 1,000 of them and crossing the border with the express mission to kill civilians. Not just kill them, knock on their door, go in with a gun and shoot them. Chase them around, shoot them, rape them.
Whoop. No wonder he's into this. He's seen that video of that German girl getting carted off on that bicycle. He thought, oh, I'd have a bit of that. Imagine I was a swarthy Arab man and I could just grab some little Jewish German girl and get her on my bike and just fucking drag her across the border and rape her to death. Oh, that's giving him a little hot flush there, isn't it?
I'll never forget the images.
I'll never forget the images, he says. What images? What do you mean? The images of what? Have you seen images? What images have you seen? Oh, I'll never forget those images. Oh, lovely images. Look at the way the filter in this.
Chase them around.
I'm going to play this in slow motion. And look at the way the filter, like, sort of changes on his face. Like, he is, at this point, like some kind of cartoon villain. Like, he's like some kind of creation now. Like, he's on his way. Alan is 2 or 3 steps away. I watched Joker recently. Interesting portrayal of, well, interest. I mean, fucking, they gave Joaquin Phoenix all these plaudits for being a really good actor, and like they said about what a good actor Joaquin Phoenix was, and I was like, I thought I was going to see him like Michael Douglas in Falling Down, start out quite balanced and end up seemingly unhinged but understandable all the way, and instead I just saw him like acting like a madman from start to finish. Like, obviously hadn't eaten much and done a load of drugs and just walked into the acting studio and said, let's do it. I can cry and look mad. I mean, I could do that now. I could cry and look mad. Like, you know, I could do that for an hour. I didn't see it was all that good, but anyway, what am I saying? I'm dissing the Joker. Everyone likes that film. I haven't seen the Heath Ledger one yet, so I need to compare. Alan's on his way, though. You know, this feels like an origin story now, doesn't it? Like, he's only, like, you know, one horrific crime and... Well, no, he's probably done the crimes. He's probably already done the crimes. He's probably not far away here from just, like, becoming a proper supervillain. His costume is all black. Black room, black bed, black all this. You know, his costume is all black. He wears the balaclava. Sex mad weirdo. Sex mad Val. Like, so we're all like superheroes on our side then, and Alan's a baddest. On our side, we've got Super Chuffer. I mean, that makes sense. Super Chuffer, doesn't it? Super Chuffer and the Battery Boy. We're both... I'm my own sidekick in this situation. We've got Super Chuffer and the Battery Boy. I'm my own sidekick. We've got Sex Mad Val. She's like Wonder Woman. Sex Mad Val. Tosha, Cartoon Lady. You see, like, it just falls into place. These are all like, you know, Cartoon Lady. Who's this mysterious Cartoon Lady? Martin Dean and the Gang Stalkers. Like, it all falls into place, doesn't it? There's even other supervillains, isn't there? There's like Bin or Rotten Crotch. You know, there's some real like characters in this. Alan's on his way to becoming a cartoon here. I'm here. How much of that did you hear? I'm back. It was just obs. It did its thing. I was going on about Sex Mad. Did you hear that I said Sex Mad Val was like a Wonder Woman and Cartoon Lady was like another superhero, and we're all like the X-Men, and that Alan's a real supervillain, and that he's like, there's him and there's Bin Bin, and Bin Bin's like rotten crotch, and like there's like he's got a gang of baddies and we're a back gang of goodies, and I was, yeah, you heard all that, yeah, okay. So in slow motion now, watch how the filter fucks with his face. Don't smile about raping. Look at his face appear there, and then... Oh, it's gone. It's here. It's gone. What? What's going on with your skin then? All spots were appearing and disappearing. Fucking weird. And you'll never forget the images of the raping. Okay, go ahead. Carry on. Telling us about the unforgettable raping. Please do.
Was pulled out of the car. You're not going to see this. I'm not going to...
All right, you have found these videos then, have you, Alan? You've obviously searched the internet for the videos about these girls. Look at him. His cheeky smile's coming. Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, I've seen these videos. Not just the one on the news about the woman getting dragged out of the car, but I've seen the video of the girl on the back of the motorcycle fucking screaming. And I do feel a bit bad for her boyfriend, who is like being held quite, like there's like 4 or 5 guys stood around her boyfriend who seem quite, you know, angry. Like he's not going to be doing much about it, but yeah, like, you know, she's on the back of the bike and they're driving her away, and you think, well, that's, you know, that's the last time you're seeing her. And then there is a video of a load of, like, they've got her on the back of a truck. This girl's obviously dead, like face down on the back of the truck, driving around. Bin Bin's gonna fuck me up. Big up Sick Willy Deeg. I got a video about, like, at the end of yesterday's stream, we ended up seeing a bit of Bin Bin, didn't we? But I got it members only, and I'm like considering whether to drop it or not. I don't know if I can be asked to antagonise her, really. Like as much as I say don't go on about it, don't watch that, ignore it. Like maybe I just should follow my own advice about that. I like dropping her into conversation every now and then as like the butt of a joke, but other than that, like, yeah. Alan hides his face when he's about to reveal something inappropriate, you say. Yeah. I think he said the word rape, and then he like, you know, feelings had to be hidden, and the half smile is here. He's got his hands up in the air here, like in a sort of don't blame me, believe me, like I'm not guilty, Your Honour, Governor, innocent sort of look, but he's not innocent, he's a lying bastard.
Raped, murdered, and put on the back of a truck.
I didn't know, hang on, raped, murdered and put on, I didn't, okay, this is news to me. And again, I've looked at the fucking, like, you know, uncensored websites. I've not seen anyone who's been raped and murdered, categorically. I've not seen any videos of them doing that. I've seen someone that's dead on the back of a truck, but he's making assumptions there that he's made up in his mind in his own fantasy world.
Right, went around with people spitting on her. Now, I know. Trigger warning, you shouldn't be here if you're going to be triggered.
Trigger warning after the thing that's awful.
You're going to see it. You're going to see war, what it really is.
You're going to see it. What, are you going to show it? Look, that little half smile again.
Up close and personal, but not against soldiers. No, our men whooping and cheering as they shoot children and women.
What the fuck?
I'm not going to show you that.
No, of course you're not, because you don't have any video of that, do you? Happened. I believe you it happened. Yeah, although you don't have any video of that. I've not seen any video of that. Fuck me.
No, I know we have a supporter. Was it Mr. Pickles, I think, from actually Tel Aviv, that supports me every night here. I'm waiting to see if he comes in. I hope he's all right, you know?
Is this Mr. He's just doxed Mr. Pickles. Mr. Pickles is from Tel Aviv. If he's from Tel Aviv, am I to assume he's Jewish? Or is that just like, you know, me being racist or some shit? Like, Mr. Pickles in Tel Aviv? Like, what the fuck? Put that one on your pin board, you know, and put that one in your notebook. Mr. Pickles is in Tel Aviv. It's just a very strange thing, isn't it? What's Mr. Pickles in Tel Aviv so interested in Alan and Alan's... right, okay, you know that man who... Alan painted who looked like him? You know the man who Alan painted who looked like him? Do you remember that? That's Mr. Pickles, trust me. Trust my intuition on that. That's Mr. Pickles. That's my intuition on that. Don't have to trust it. Put your bets. You know, place your own bets.
Was it Mr. Pickles? Someone tell me. I think it was.
I'm just going to say this. I've heard that Tel Aviv is a very sexual city. And I've heard that first. You can trust me when I say this. I've heard that firsthand from someone who used to live there that I had sex with. They said that they've got these bars where you like literally just like they're pickup bars, so it's like a circular bar. So you sit across from the bar and you look at people and you send them a drink, and if they like the drink, then you go and have sex. She said it was a very sexual city. Mr. Pickles might be a very saucy man as well. Mr. Pickles and Alan might have similar predilections. They might send each other some pictures. You don't know.
And I guess the saddest thing I've got to show you, which I will show you, is I like Australia news. I find Australian news the most honest, most brutally honest country for news I can find.
What? Like, although I'm not an expert on Australian news, I'm sure I know some people who are. Grumpy Grannis, for one. Grumpy Grannis. And what about Tori from Crime and Cooking? And like, I'm sure these people could help us with the Australian. We've got some friends in chat as well that come in that are Australian. I'm sure the Australian news has right-wing and left-wing agenda, and you know, I'm sure that it's just as biased as any other news outlet, isn't it? Well, how can you just judge the entirety of Australian news in one like that as well? The biggest news, what am I looking for? Company in Australia. Watch it be owned by the Murdochs. The Herald Sun, News Corp Australia, media companies, News Corp Australia, Seven West Media, and Fairfax. And the Australian Broadcast Corporation runs public service. So if it's ABC, it might be public service, in which case, maybe, you know. What am I doing here? I've got this too big for you. There you go. But News Corp Australia, that's what I'm looking for. News Corp Australia. Yeah, the big one. And the holding company is News Pty Limited. Don't know who that is. Key people: Michael Miller, Executive Chairman. Parent News Corp. 21st Century Fox. Fox. So it's basically Fox. It's basically owned by Fox. Fox and Disney. Murdoch. There you go. Look. Murdoch. It's not a bad guess, is it? If you're looking to see who owns the media in any particular place, you say Murdoch. It might be right. So it's Murdoch. It's not the most impartial and best news in the world. It's Rupert Murdoch's media empire. If you're going with the majority, like you've still got like a BBC style, you know, impartial one. That's the ABC. But we'll see which one he uses. He uses Sky News anyway. He watches Sky News anyway. He's talking shit.
I always look at Australian news.
He's talking shit anyway. You and I both know that Alan fucking never watches Australian news, and he's just talking shit.
Channel. Above BBC and CNN and stuff like that. Trigger warning, this is real bad.
Of course it's fucking real bad.
But I did a show a few weeks back on young men flooding into my country in boats. And I'm not saying that they would do what these people have done in Israel, but I think the mindset is there to be cheering what they've done. There's 5,000 people in the streets of London now, taking over London, with flags cheering on this murder.
Well, there will be a population of I don't want to say like Palestinians, but like, you know, people of Palestinian heritage. So that's the right way to say it, isn't it? There'll be a population of people of Palestinian heritage and Palestinians, I suppose, in the UK. And in a place like London, it's a very cosmopolitan city. So pick any country in the world, and if they have a war with someone, there will be both communities probably within the wealth of myriad of beautiful different cultures in London to be represented and come out and support and protest and, you know, all that sort of stuff, won't there? Like, that was probably to be expected, and like maybe to be cherished in our wonderful democracy rather than sort of be angry about. But I suppose you could be angry about it. I mean, both sides are going to have their feelings on it, aren't they? Like, we're going to have our feelings, but I'm not living in there, so like my feelings are less fiery than theirs, I suppose. And it's like, how do you unwind a piece of string? Let's keep going back until you decide, oh, they did it, and then they did this, and then we did this, and then they did this, and I want that church, and you can't have this rock, and like, you know, fucking hell. Yeah, I'll fix Israel and Palestine on a stream by getting angry about immigrants, yeah.
I know it's on both sides. I know the Israelis will bomb the shit out of the Gaza Strip tonight.
Of course they
and
will.
Kill thousand people, men, women, children.
Well, you're a bit confused, Alan. If you weren't following, they've been doing that for years, and there's like a child killed in Palestine once every 3 days, I think, at current rate. Sort of just on an average sort of daily, you know, once every 3 days. Oh, there's another child. As part of ongoing clashes, insurgencies, violence, rockets, you know. You might want to check your stats out.
What have they done? What will this lead to around the world? If there's 5,000 pro this demonstration in London tonight, what about 2 years' time when they decide to run riot at a pop festival with our English, British children being murdered?
Right, so you're suggesting that the people who have settled in the UK, who have a Palestinian heritage, who are out on the streets in support of Palestine, politically protesting, whatever you want to say, you know, out there on the streets in support of Palestine, those people are going to turn into radicalised terrorists and attack, like the Ariana Grande concert, attack local communities in England, of which they are born and bred from, some of them, and their own children are part of those groups. So, like, it's this separatist idea that, like, you know, we're not integrated. They are them and we are us, and they're in Britain, but they're not British. And, like, you know, fuck me. He's managed to make the Israel-Gaza conflict about Alan's views on foreign people and his racism. He's managed to turn it into his racism, and it's about us and Britain.
A lot different than Israel. We're getting surrounded. So for those of you that don't know,
we're getting surrounded. Could you imagine, could anyone say anything more ignorant about the Israel-Gaza conflict than we're getting surrounded? Like, one of the problems that Palestine has is they are surrounded. Like, it's just fucking blazing ignorance. I didn't realise I was just going to dig into this and start running it. I really don't think I'm going to watch the whole of this episode. This is an hour and 40 minutes. I'm not planning on doing that tonight. But I'm just rolling with what's going on. I'm just feeling my flow.
Explain. Israel is at war with Hamas. Here's what you need to know.
Off the phone, off the...
Israel have declared war on the Palestine militant group Hamas.
My guess is, for all that slating of the news organisations he's just done, he's on his phone reading the BBC.
An unprecedented attack by air, sea and land on Sunday.
You right, Alan?
Just yesterday.
Wobbling
the
around.
large-scale surprise assault had left 1,000 people dead in Israel, prompting a lethal volley of retaliation.
I'll tell you what's good about this Israel-Gaza conflict, right? It doesn't matter which racist you are, you can have a pop at either side. Like, you know, if you prefer the Arabs, you can have a pop at the Jews, and if you don't like the Arabs, you can, you know, be on the side of the Jews and have a pop at the Arabs, can't you? It's like good for you. It doesn't matter which kind of racist you are. It doesn't matter which flavour of racist you want to be. And like, if you want, you can be like a clever, like sneaky racist where you're like not racist against the Jews because that would be bad racism, but you're going to be racist against the Arab side, but it's not bad racism because they're the baddies, so you can write them off, fuck them over. They kill kids and bad. So like, in my heart of hearts, you know, I cannot understand how, and I just think there are not, like, you know, the religious aspects. I don't think these people necessarily represent some sort of religious Islam or anything like that. I just think fucking angry nutter people who have been living in a war zone for so long, it's like destroyed part of their psyche, and now it's just revenge. Like those bad people who went over with the motorbikes and kidnapped people and did bad things, that's bad. That's not, you know, that's bad. It doesn't help anything. It made everything worse. Bad, definitely that. All the rockets and bombs on either side, bad. You know where I'm coming from. But yeah.
Israeli airstrikes the Gaza Strip that already killed nearly 1,000. As these 1,000 militants retreated into Gaza, they took with them 100 hostages. You're going to see one of those hostages being pulled off her boyfriend's motorcycle in a minute. They're going to be a heavy price.
Okay, he's reading the news. We know he's a racist, yeah?
Israel
so here's
retaliating with airstrikes on.
And it's ABC, so fair play, right? Oh, he's gone on to Sky News. I was going to say fair play, at least he used the ABC, which is the public service broadcast, although he doesn't like the BBC for some reason. The ABC is the equivalent in Australia. But then he's come on to Sky News Australia, and good chat and chat, someone spotted this. There is a Sky News Australia. I don't know why he's leaning on the Sky News Australia rather than just standard Sky News. But Australia it is. He wants a bit of the Australian viewpoint.
Jump for joy as they spill blood. How can humans be this cruel?
And it's the news.
This is indeed accurate.
Maybe he's leaning on this because the Sky News Australia is heavily leaning towards the right-wing pro-Jewish agenda. Maybe that. And I'm not here taking a side, am I? Although, like I could if you want me to, but it's just fucking ridiculous. So my perspective is to not. We've got the news for an extended period of time here. Like this news has been going on for an awful. Like Alan's not even on the screen. He's not even here. Like the news has really been going on. Richie Sunak. He's on the screen now. Alan is in the bottom left corner, but you know, for all intents and purposes, he's not actually on his own stream. He's tried his old trick of broadcasting other people's content, so that if you accidentally stumble into his stream, you might think it's quite good media, and you don't realise that he's not done any of this.
Remains incredibly tense everywhere you go. Hi, and Noam survived the massacre. They've lost friends, killed, or abducted.
I don't want to get politically into the conversations about who should and is and wasn't or whatever. Bottom line is there's two cultures there that need to live side by, like, for religious reasons, arguable what you think of religion, up to you. For religious reasons, they both want to have access to this one place, and neither are ever going to back down. And because it's religious and because it's cultural, like from what we've seen, from the way we've seen humans behave, it's pretty predictable. They're not going to back down. So it's one of those where you want to get the two kids and bang their heads together and say, if you can't behave, no one can have it. Like, they need to fucking behave and get their heads around this. Like, I want to say behave. Like, obviously, behave. They're killing people and going to war and stuff. Like, it's a never-ending cycle because there's always I'm retaliating because of what you did to my family last week, but you're retaliating because of what my family did to your family last week and the week before and the week after. And like, it's just never-ending. So there needs to be a clear marked line between, like, it's going to fucking end. And, surprise, surprise, demilitarization. Like, but guns are good. We need guns to protect you from the bad people. Yeah, but you don't want the bad people having guns, do you? So, like, the removal of the weapons, like the setting down of the arms, is the first and most important never cross that line thing. And if it ever got crossed, like for example, when people, if in this case, went across the border and did bad things, it should be Hamas who are going in and grabbing hold of those people, returning the hostages, policing the border, saying you are not going over there and causing trouble. We're being nice to our neighbours. You know, it should be them within that police that. Instead, it turns into this thing. You look at Northern Ireland, and thank God, at some point, violence ended. Otherwise, it doesn't. And you might as well, if you're going to say it's not going to end, if you're going to go, it's not. If we're going to go with not violence, not ending, you might as well move all of the civilians out. Let's just have 2 weeks while we just completely evacuate. Like, let's get everyone, America, you know, instead of sending them guns and rockets and, like, you know, providing them tanks and air support, let's just provide loads of humanitarian aid, and let's just get everyone out who doesn't want to live there while there's a war on, yeah? And then let's just say, right, pile up all your bombs, all in one big pile, and just set them all off at once, and you're all fucking gone, all dead. Everyone who wants to fire a bomb and a rocket, all at once, do it all at once. Everyone's dead now and you're all gone. Everything's obliterated. We're starting again. Everyone can move back in now. Okay, there's nuclear fallout to worry about, but you know, you can move back in now. You can have your nice society, because everyone that wanted to fucking blow each other up, they've all had a good go and they're all fucking dead now. Like, you might as well just do it all at once, instead of years and years and years of more struggle and heartache on the part of people who, on the fringes, might have, like, they grow up in it, so they, like, you know, my family is on this side of a war, so I'm obviously not going to just going around disagreeing with that. I'm going to take it to heart, and I'm going to be sad that my uncle got killed, and, you know, it's going to be my lifelong thing to, like, instead of that, you know, you've got to break the cycle, haven't you? It's just fucking stupid. And yeah, the most sad thing about it all is that what we were saying, it comes down to religious space, sharing of space, religious differences, cultural differences that over time have been conflicts that are now ingrained. Like, isn't the religion supposed to be the good bit where everyone loves and positive and love? And, like, you can't have the world's most religious site, Jerusalem. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian. Doesn't matter if you're a Christian, a Jew, or a Muslim. Like, Hindus, okay, they're not bothered. The Hindus and the Jains and the Taoists and the Buddhists, you know, none of them are bothered about this. But if you're in these big core group of these big three hitters, then, like, you all agree with Abraham being a root, and, like, you all have that. It's like a warring family. It's like, you know, Family Feud, isn't it? Like, you've all got the same grandparent, like, you've all got the same root, and one of the big tenets in all of those religions is to be nice to each other and love and kindness. You've all had, like, leaders, like, not modern leaders, but religious figures like Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon him. Like, they say, peace be upon him, for Christ's sake. Can't you have peace be upon everyone else? Like, can't you handle it? Like, with the most religious, it should be this concentration of love. Like, it should be like, Jerusalem should be like hippie city, where it doesn't matter what race, colour, creed, you can go there, you can go in any of these religious places, you can celebrate and love and culture. Like, you know, it should be a melting pot of humanity. It should be the fountain of humanitarianism. It's the most religious place for these religions. A lot of them. Okay, there's Mecca, there's the Kaaba, you know, but, you know, we're talking about these really important places, aren't we? So, how on earth can they not fix that up? How are they so small-minded, pig-headed, short-sighted, to not see the big picture, that is that in your generation and with your grievances, yeah, but in 10, 20, 50, 100 years' time, if people still have the resonating ripple effect grievances from the things you wouldn't let go, like, you need to be the generation to let go, otherwise it's never going to stop. And, you know, welcome to the world of war in Palestine and Israel. And that therefore goes for people like me, who I could quite happily say, well, you know, Palestine have got it real hard, and Israel make it look like Palestine are the baddies, but Israel do their fair share of being bad, and, like, you know, they push them to it, and do you know what happened before? And then I'm just one of them doing the same thing with all my opinions and my politics. No, I've just told you what I think. Thank you very much. I'm quite prepared to rise above it and do the right thing by our neighbours, And if that means like whichever side of this I happen to naturally fall on for whatever reasons, that means I'm on the side of the other side, rise above it, and there is no way it doesn't matter whether you're Jewish or Palestinian or like, you know, Egyptian or South African or Nigerian or Indian or, well, not Chinese. I was going to say Chinese, but I'm joking, or Chinese or anything. Like, I don't want to see young people crying and hurt. I don't want to see like vulnerable people forced out of their homes and, you know, dragged away as hostages, raped to death. Like, fuck no. Like, no. Anyone who's down with that and into that, they need to go. We need to get them gone, bin them off. I've had it with them. That's not a war against Jews or a war against Palestine. That's a war against bad people that the good people should fight. And they should be able to redefine this whole thing. And they should be able to redefine it between like those who want things to stop and just be nice and those who fucking refuse and are doing loads of shooting. And like, I feel like there needs to be a sort of neo-hippie movement. Like, we've gone quite hard right line. War has got, when the hippies got going, they were putting flowers in guns. Like, there was Vietnam and they were putting flowers in the end of a rifle, you know, very symbolic and all that. But like, you know, it's a rifle. Like, you're not going to get your flowers on a drone. You're not going to be able to put a flower on an intercontinental ballistic missile. That, like, war is different now. And that immediate ability of the people to sort of intervene, like, not really so easy, I suppose. I mean, that wasn't even the case back with hippies. They weren't stopping Vietnam from America. But do you know what I mean? Like, in the conflicts on the streets between the protesters and the police or whatever, that, like, things are different now anyway, aren't they? And I just feel like there is no social surge for intervention, peace. Like, back in the day, you had the CND movement, ban the bomb. The closest thing we've got these days are people like Greta Thunberg and, you know, protesters against oil that are being vilified by the press and make themselves look bad or whatever. But, you know, all that business. Where is the counterculture against this desecration of both? This is a very, whether you believe it or not, you know, whether you're into it or not, this place is a very sacred ground for a lot of people. Where is the, you know, counterculture anger, the desecration of this sacred ground and the religions that it represents by people shooting a gun? How dare you shoot a gun in this place? You know, do you know what I mean? But then it has got this like long history, hasn't it? Jerusalem, Saladin, the Christians, you know, the Crusades, of bloodshed. Long history. But yeah, a counterculture against this would be nice. And Alan's rhetoric and the news maybe of like, fuck these fucking Arabs and it's time we nuke them off the map, like, that doesn't really help. But part of me, even as a Palestinian sympathiser, feels like, get all the people out and nuke it off the map. Just fuck it. Fuck it. People are going to really be angry about what I'm saying here as well, right? But I would be gracious enough, like, from an Islamic perspective, to say, if you really want to fucking, you know, you're going to kill everyone because of it, you have Jerusalem for a bit then. You know, we'll go to Mecca and, you know, we'll consider this religious place sacred and one day to return. But for now, while you're being fucking nutters, we'll just let you have it instead of killing everyone and losing the children. Like, imagine how many children have been killed in Palestine for the principle of not backing down. And if you just said, all right, we'll leave it and we'll come back another time. Sorry, we wanted to come and worship at one of our most sacred sites, but obviously there's a bit of a thing going on here at the moment. You're getting well eggy, so we'll come back another time. And, like, you know, a few generations go by, like, there might be a lot more people, a lot more real lives saved because of it. Instead, like, swathes of families, generations just wiped out because, well, everyone's dead. Like, just think the long game, maybe. You know what I mean? And, like, I know that no one's going to do that. Palestine is going to remain landlocked as like a sort of shooting range for this ever ongoing war, like 1984, Oceania, ever on at war. But and after they've spent enough money on guns and bombs for a bit, Hamas will stop retaliating for a bit. You know, yeah. But it's a shame, isn't it? I'm glad we've got Alan to talk us through it, though, because my opinion's just a load of shit. What's Alan got to say?
Basim Naim saying,
spat on her, and this guy here, Comical Ali, reborn, is denying everything.
do you realise that with this attack and these atrocities, you will have alienated many people who
Absolutely.
have sympathy for the Palestinian?
This is where my immediate thought, as a question the narrative person says, why would you send your soldiers in to commit atrocities that are going to alienate you on the public and international stage so that you then get nuked off the map? Why would you do that? It's almost as if an underhand clandestine state would, through a third party, instigate this, maybe even radicalise some young people into doing something that was against their own interests in a way. We see it with politics a lot, you know, radicalising people to do something against their own interests. And then you could sort of say, oh, well, it wasn't me. Like, I mean, for example, if I was in the Jewish, you know, Jewish team, no, I'm not being racist, I mean, like, you know, Israel team, like, you know, if I was in that team and I wanted to start things off a bit, start off a bit of a fight so I could spend my money on my guns and blow up a load of Palestinians and stuff. Well, there's a music festival going on and there's a little village and like they're just collateral damage really anyway. Like when you add it up in 10 years time, like, you know, a bunch of these people are just collateral damage. Some of them are even just German holiday makers. So not like, yeah, just fuck it then, go, you know, set it off. Let's waste them. Let's have a big Barney. Like, it doesn't have to be what everyone tells us it is. And it seems fucking weird that Hamas would do something so... It is literally like going into war and shooting yourself immediately in the foot, isn't it? Because you're not going to have any sympathy from the international... Like, everyone's going to see what you've done and say, you are the baddies. Welcome to nukedom. So it seems like a bit of a stupid negative thing to do. I can't believe you would have thought that up as a plan over a period of time, like, and planned for it. And no one along the side, excuse me, sir. Yes. Sorry, they wouldn't talk like that, would they? But I'm not going to do funny accents in this situation. But yes, Ahmed. I was thinking, sir, that if we go in there and take civilian captives and rape them to death and murder civilians in the streets, aren't we going to look like the baddies? It's like that Mitchell and Webb where the Nazis have got the skulls on their hat, and he's like, well, skulls? Aren't we the baddies? And he's like, no, we'll definitely look like the goodies. Everyone will be on our team. Everything will be fine. You know, we're definitely not going to get nuked off the map. And besides, you'll get to, you know, rape someone to death. So enjoy that. Okay. You sure, though? You know, because I've seen the schematics for the plan. I know we're all very angry about the sort of perceived cultural slight of one of their members of their party, MP or whatever, going on our special sacred site. I know we're very angry about that. But if you look back to 2008 when we did this last time, fucking ended badly for us. Yeah, I know, yeah, didn't it? But I suppose we've got all these other people that could take over if you don't want to do the job and you don't want to be in charge and you don't want to be in... There's someone else waiting to take over, so I'm promised that if I don't do this, then I won't get to do anything. So I suppose it's this or nothing. In for it, soldier? I suppose. Gonna get to rape someone to death before I die, am I? Maybe. Oh, but they promise you loads of virgins in heaven. Oh, that's what they say, don't they? I've heard that before. That's a load of, you know, part of the racist rhetoric, isn't it? So let's get at it anyway. After this, I'm going to emigrate to the UK and have several children, and then my children are going to rape Alan's grandchildren. Sorry, I'm just doing one of my bits where I fantasise about being another person for a while. What's the stars mean in front of all the names? They are all subscribers. Some of them are Prime subscribers, which means they've got a Prime subscription. If you've got Amazon Prime, Rubaloo, you can subscribe for free here. It's laid on for you by your Amazon Prime. But a lot of them have been gifted them, actually, though naughty chuffers. Quite a few of them gift them as well, and some of them even pay for them themselves. Means they're a subscriber.
cause. You may well have set.
It's different over here. A subscriber is someone who like actually pays to be part. It's like a membership, like subscriber over here on Twitch. Whereas on most of the platforms, subscriptions are free. It's just a button that you press. Here, the button that you press is a follow, and the subscription is like a membership. It's all just words. It means they like Red Fan. What it really means is Red Fan has gifted them a subscription.
Back the Palestinian cause
Yes.
by many years.
Resistance is just resistance against an oppression of 75 years. They know that this is the rule of war.
So it's the news. Alan's doing the news. I'm skipping past it. Like basically for his show, I've skipped past all the news, haven't I? Because he's always doing
Your daughter is
the news. It's all the news.
at the end.
Fuck, there's loads of news, isn't there, Alan? Fucking loads. Right to the end of the news. Was there not a bit in the middle sometime where he stopped doing the news? Right, this bit's the Telegraph. Maybe it was just after this, I think. Yeah, because I checked into his show a little bit in the middle. There we go. There's a bit of him that's not the news. Thank God there was something to react to that's not the news. It's getting thin on the ground, though, isn't it, these days? The Alan content that's not the news. Like, maybe one of Stinky Socks' edits should be... I'd throw out the... this poor girl. She's dead on the back of a truck.
German-Israeli girl. It's a mother, guys.
Don't. It's sad. Dead on the back of a truck. I'm not going to say anything bad about anyone, but like, you know, I personally wouldn't be going to a music festival on the border of Gaza and Hamas and like whatever. But dead on the back of a truck anyway. Sorry if anyone finds me being offensive, but making your life difficult. Yeah, I'm not trying to. Alan is. Here's an idea though that might work it might not work as an edit, but I wonder what his show would look like if you just edited out all the news. Like, it'd be much shorter, and you'd see how much Alan did and how much the news was, and it'd just kind of be funny. I'd just like to understand in my brain how much of it was really Alan. Not much, I'm imagining. Let's see what he's got to say.
I don't even want to say to you. I don't know what to say to you. It's like, is there any way out of this now at this late?
You don't know what to say to them, because what you really want to do, Alan, is spend all afternoon jerking off over the idea of that girl being murdered on the back of a truck, isn't it? She's your favourite one out of all of them. You like jerking off over the dead people. That's why you do the murders anyway, isn't it? After you did that first murder, and then you carried on with the sex that evening, you thought, this is a bit good, this, isn't it? And you've had a thing for it ever since.
Stage. How did the two sides come to this situation? And if Mr. Pickles gets to see this, our thoughts are with you and your people.
Your people. So you're 100% on the side of Israel then. No nuance here.
Tensions between the Israelis and the Palestinians existed before Israel was founded in 1948, right? So it was founded in 1948. Thousands of people on both sides have been killed and many more injured over decades of violence.
Just reading this from somewhere then.
This year's been one of the worst. And they think by retaliating they're going to stop Hamas. And Hamas, when they're retaliated on, just get worse.
Sorry, I'm going to listen to this.
Thousands of people on both sides have been killed and many more injured over decades of violence.
Yeah.
This year's been one of the worst. A number of Palestinians, militants and civilians killed in occupied West Bank by Israel forces since the year began.
True.
It's the highest in 2 decades. It's not just one side. But to be fair, the Israelis are just retaliating. They just retaliate. They think...
To be fair, I'm just 100% biased on the side of Israel. It's weird, isn't it? Alan's on Rumble and he's 100% biased on the side of Israel. And you would think that on Rumble there might be some exposure against like what might be perceived as this like sort of clandestine New World Order filtering money from America to Israel with the big oligarchical, like wealthy Jewish people. Like there's almost like almost sort of anti-Jewish racist conspiracy sort of thing that goes on, isn't there? That on Rumble might be more sort of fitting the tone. But Alan's 100%, Alan is pro-Israel. Got you.
by retaliating, they're going to stop Hamas, and Hamas.
You don't have to do the edits. If it might. That was just an idea, and it might not be a good idea. It might, it might work. It might not. Not everything I think of is good.
When they're retaliated on, just get worse. It's like a cycle that never ends.
Yeah, I just talked my way through this. I've got my things on that. I understand that. I think I'll tell you what as well, this is going to sound ridiculous as well, because I know people who feel much, much more heated about this conflict than I'm going to. What I'm going to say might sound facile and naive, but when you're a kid and you've got siblings and you squabble over things like almost to the death, and you can really have a big row with your siblings sometimes, but your family, so it's almost like weird that you would probably even row harder sometimes with your own family than you would with a stranger. And I think that experience in some way, and being able to at some point in your life say, well, look, I'm not going to spend my entire life arguing with you. I'm on your team, for Christ's sake. And being able to put things down and sort of grow up and mellow out. It's almost like the two nations, the two sides of this argument, the two historic opponents, cultures, whatever you want to say. It's almost like they have grown up and not been able to do this. The cultures have grown and evolved over time, and to the point where, as much as I'm very, very anti the politics of a place like Saudi Arabia, for example, when I say anti the politics, I mean freedom of women, free society. I think you can still be jailed for homosexuality in Qatar. I'm not down with any of that, am I? I think their cultures are not free, and there's all these sort of human rights problems. But modernising is happening. It's a process, and you would hope that whilst it doesn't seem to be happening fast in some places, you would hope that there are some potential green shoots there for it to increase and grow. In the Gaza Palestine thing, I was going to say you should be able to grow up and mellow out, but it feels like they've grown up and embittered instead of mellowing out, doesn't it? It feels like siblings that have come to a point where they can no longer be in the same room because the old arguments always bubble over. It's a shame.
I mean, foreigners, civilians, all killed. There's British people killed. There's Americans killed this day.
It's a bit. I find this a bit contrived by the mainstream media, because it doesn't matter what country you're in. Oh, you're into this because one of yours has been killed. But that's also because Israel is a fairly new country populated by Jewish people who repatriated after the Second World War. And there's a lot of people from all over the world that are Jewish. And so there's a lot of people that even, for example, I believe one or two of these young people had... Israel has a sort of... You do a year's, I think it is national service when you're between the age of 19 and 22 or something like that. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But there's a lot of... It's almost like a rite of passage for young people. Doesn't matter if you're American Jewish or German Jewish or Australian Jewish. You might consider going to Israel for a year, doing your year's service, having a bit of fun. It's like a... Israel is made up of a culture of people that are globally scattered. So you may find that in an incident like this, many, many different cultures, apparently, a British person, a German person, this and that. Yeah, but they might also be Jewish, mightn't they? So I think the media kind of misreports it a little bit. Certainly at the music festival, there would have been people of all different cultures and nationalities. Predominantly, though, Jewish, I think. So, yeah, but carry on.
I think there's 10 English people killed. Israel captured the Gaza from Egypt.
It's a funny omission. All I'm saying is it's a funny omission of data. English people, yes, but are they Jewish English fighting in the Jewish forces, or are they? Because there was literally a guy from England, I think, or it was Germany, that was in the army there. He got killed, but he was fighting in the army. So it wasn't like he'd gone on holiday and just got killed. It was he was actually in the army. So, I'm laughing about it, but do you know what I mean? It puts a different spin on it, doesn't it? It's not like, British tourist holidaymaker got murdered by a terrorist. It's like the guy was in the army, like shooting a gun at him. Like,
Egypt in 1967 war, then withdrew its troops and settlers in 2005. The territory, home to 2 million Palestinians, fell under Hamas control in 2007.
it's a lot of people.
After a brief civil war with Fatah, rival Palestinian faction. After Hamas seized control, Israel and Egypt imposed a strict siege on the territory, which is ongoing since 2007. Israel maintains an air and naval blockade on Gaza Strip.
Yep.
Basically, Gaza is an open-air prison camp. That's what it is.
Kind of.
More
Yeah.
than half of its population lives in poverty and food is insecure. And nearly 80,000 of the population relies on humanitarian assistance that comes in. Well, Israel stopped that now. There's going to be no water, no medicine, no electricity, no sanitation, no
That doesn't sound very nice, does it, to do that?
nothing in Gaza from now on. Hamas and Israel fought several wars before this thing on Saturday erupted. The
What's
last
that
war,
face?
Hamas and Israel fought several wars before this thing on Saturday erupted. The last war was in 2021, lasting for 11 days and killed.
When's he going to talk about these gangs of people?
And I have
again?
showed you, and I'm not going to show you. Children suffering. I mean, it's just.
Which of course is.
We've got the news again. I thought.
No warning of any kind.
There's Biden. Hang on.
Became the first nation.
There's
recognized
Biden.
Israel 11 minutes after its founding, 75 years ago.
Pearl Harbor thing.
What?
Mr. President, was there an intelligence failure?
I'm going to make a joke now. I shouldn't, because I know everyone does this. Like it's like a right-wing Republican meme that has come through. But is he finished answering questions, or does he just walk off at a random moment? He's off there. Anyway, Joe
The
Biden.
thing that I am perturbed with, I see a sort of Pearl Harbor thing. How did 1,000 of these guys, in a situation where, I mean, they've got a secret police force like no other in Israel. How did they not get wind of this operation to send 1,000 terrorists across the border? How did they not get information, intelligence about it?
It's almost as if they've got their own secret police force called Mossad that, rather than catching wind of information, could in fact be in league with other international agencies to create. It's the same. Like, this is going to sound like a bit nuts from me, but it's the same with our own MI5 and in America, the CIA. The conspiracy idea that you can create false flag events, I suppose they're called. And I'm not going to say that all these school shootings and stuff like that are false. I'm not saying that. But what I do think is that, so let's say, for example, not me, I won't say me actually. Let's say, for example, Agent Pandy. Agent Pandy gets a job for MI5, and Agent Pandy is of an Arabic persuasion. They've been reasonably educated, but they failed out of university, and they're able to ingratiate with an Arabic community, an Islamic community. So they say to Agent Pandy, right, we're going to send you to a bit of impoverished area. You're going to ingratiate with this Asian community. We want you to get in any terrorism, any terrorism, get in with it. Like, just join in, be one of them. Secret Agent Pandy is going to be a double agent in the terrorist cell. So go and find yourself a cell, or maybe they know one that they can send him to. Anyway, Agent Pandy's in the terrorist cell now, and doing terrorist things. They're reporting back to the CIA or the FBI, the MI5, and then Agent Pandy then has the ability to maybe say, hey, why don't we go and do XYZ to the group? Agent Pandy doesn't have to be passive. Agent Pandy can be vocal. Agent Pandy can receive messages from their higher ups to say, do this. And they could say, are you sure you want it? They're not going to say, are you sure we should do this? They're going to not question it. It's how the thing works. You do what you're told at certain points. You make things happen. Or it could be that Agent Pandy says, hey, they're planning on doing an explosion And shouldn't we stop it? And they say, yeah, we'll stop that for you, Agent Pandy. You just go along with the plan, and right at the last minute, we'll be there to save you, don't worry. And at the last minute, Agent Pandy's sitting on the airplane thinking, I don't want to fly this into this tower, but when are they supposed to save me? Agent Pandy down, mate. Agent Pandy down. Like, what I'm saying is, it's cloak and dagger world of espionage is clearly not as black and white as black and white. That's the whole point. You've got double agents, sleeper agents. Information might be collected but not acted on. Information might be used to act on. Stuff like that. It's cloak and dagger world, isn't it? So the thing that strikes me, as Alan said there, is that if Mossad, I don't know why now all of a sudden late at night I've turned this into Scott analyses Israel and Palestine through the prism of Alan is a racist, but it might be the case that Mossad had some intelligence and decided not to act on it. It might be the case that Mossad had someone, in a sleeper cell that set this up. It might not be at all. I'm saying these are things to explore in conversations about espionage and the questions. To have a confused expression, to simply have a confused expression, like Alan can't solve the case of how the Palestinians got in and done the Jews. Like, what the fuck? It's just like confused, out of his depth again. It just makes me think again, why does he bother? Why does he bother? I'll tell you what as well, the people in his chat, they were fucking banging for it though. They all really hated the Arabs. They were all very pro-Israel. But other than that, I don't see why he's like so into this or feels to talk on it or like even bother to do a stream ever, really. Surely,
it's not a question for now, I know, but a large scale...
I agree, Slick Dig. They allow it to have war and keep the business going, don't they? They want, like, you've got to think about the motivations and what people want and what's, like, if you are making decisions at the higher end, the savage truth is, I've said savage a lot today, but savage truth is that people are collateral damage. Like, when you add up what happened in these recent events, they're going to go down as figures, numbers, statistics. Like, the people in charge that call shots and do whatever, they're not really at risk. Like, it's games and politics as well as human lives. But, if you're prepared to go to another country and drop a load of fucking bombs, we hit a school there, well, we hit a load of other stuff too. Collateral damage. Yeah, what about our own people? We have defend them to the death, obviously. Defend them to the death. There's no way we would kill 1 or 2 working class people, 3 or 4, 10 or 12, a whole bunch at a concert, like, and not, there's no way we would bomb our own, like, fucking buses, is there? Well, but what if it got all of my political objectives and I got really rich and sold all those guns and they want me to sell all these, I don't know, question the narratives. And I'm not saying the answers. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think that this is how it works. I'm saying that these are questions that I have to raise because that is how it works. Like, it's not as black and white. It's nuanced. It's espionage. It's, imperfect decisions. It's clouded ethics. Yeah. Like, and monies, and like you said, billions a year in funds, but not just that, like, all the way along the chain you get people like, for example, the defence minister in the UK, he's only going to be in the job for a few months, really, in the big scheme of things. He's not going to be the defence minister for 10-20 years, so while he's in, the contracts come around and he can make a bit of money on the gun sales, so let's make sure we're doing that. And like, he doesn't have to go and call any shots on the border of Gaza, but like, he's got a motivation, or she, sorry, being sexist, but I think currently it is a man, but being sexist, they've got a motivation to sell the guns, but somewhere else on the chain, someone else has got a motivation to sell the guns, and somewhere else, and they've all got a similar motivation to do a similar thing because they all want to get rich and whatever, and it's easy to manipulate people or motivate people who on the ground in Gaza and Israel are very angry about, like, their friends and families who have been hurt through this conflict. It's easy to get them going, isn't it? Yeah. I ain't going to go over and over this too much more, am I? 10 to 2 in the morning and you finally get a bit of weed. Big up Seaman States. A bit of real weed. I wish I could like magic it out. Obviously that would be selling drugs on the internet. I wouldn't do that, but I wish I could magic it out to you. I'm such a hoarder. I tend to try and buy in advance before I run out. You know, I predict the. It's like being I don't know, like a beet farmer or something. I can predict the short season, knowing, you know, I've been in it for years now, so I can see when the market's starting to, you know, when I need to stock up. Say that, I'll probably fucking run out next week, won't I? I'll be like, oh no, can anyone get, you know, when I was young, I'll quickly just say this is about something different, but I'll just quickly say it. When I was young, used to be some like times where, oh no, it's dry, can't get any, and you have to sort of go through your phone and ring everyone you know that smokes weed and be like, hi, yeah, I haven't spoken to you do you remember me from the pub? I haven't spoken to you for ages, but I wonder if you can get me some of that marijuana that I like smoking. And then most people would be like, well, it's about 10 o'clock at night, and I know that it, you know, but then you'd go through it and you'd find someone, and it'd be like someone from like, you know, 3 villages away or the neighbouring town, you know, a little bit further off, and you'd have to go on a little drive at night time and wait in a lay-by, fucking, you know, 11:30, thinking, oh, please hope they come, and then they would know that you're waiting, kind of desperate, and it'd be up to their conscience whether they would try and stiff you and give you a good deal or not, and whatever, you just get it and you'd fucking be like grateful, wouldn't you? So you'd be like, oh, good, thanks. But like, after this Alan debacle, we'll have a little look at someone who's having some nice weed in America. We've got a little look at Martin Leaker. Look, he's got some nice weed in America. Look.
Attack to occur without warning. It's a bit of...
I'm going to skip on a bit. There was one bit that I wanted to see.
It came on the 50th.
I don't want to hear him reading that, but there's one bit I wanted to see.
To the scenes
the
of
news,
tension on...
and what happened was the news petered out. I just, you know, checked in with what he was doing. The news petered out, and he said something really fucking racist. And I said to myself in my brain, well, I should remember where that is on the broadcast, what time it is or whatever, but I'll just remember that the news finished and he started talking. So I thought it'd be around wherever the news finished, but I'm not finding it very well. So, oh, excuse me. To conclude my broadcast here, what I'm going to do is just skip through the news to see where he fucking starts being racist. Fuck, man. And not find it, but you get the picture of what kind of racist it was going to be. He specifically said that they're going to all be breeding, and they're going to be like, you know, coming over here and breeding. Which was like, fucking, what? Maybe it's this. Apologies if this is a little bit of a repeat. Yeah, this is it. Got it. So this is the Free Palestine protests in London. Now, I'll set the scene that Alan doesn't. Like I said, there are different community groups in London, and like, for example, Jeremy Corbyn, who lots of people don't like, lots of people do like, whatever, did not lead the Labour Party to successful victory, despite being a bit of a cult left-wing figure. Me personally, not a massive Corbynite. Me, not really. But he seems to be quite pro-Palestine, and so he is a Minister of Parliament as well. Like, there are areas of London where this is not unheard of to be pro-Palestine, let's just say that.
Me, for my grandchildren and my children, are we going to face this in our streets?
So Alan's making it about him and his children and his grandchildren.
Jewish children and families. And
grandchildren, well, I can show you. Tonight. Who were those illegals be supporting tonight? The mindset, well, I can show you. London. Right now, tonight.
The illegals?
London. My country.
My country? You don't live in London. This is so typical of parochial racism, right? Is that if you lived in a big city, statistically, you are much less likely to be racist. Well, statistically, you're more likely to be a different race than purebred white. But you know what I mean? Statistically, you're more likely to be less racist in a big city. And the reason, it turns out, they think, sociologists, the reason they think that is because you integrate with other people and mix with them more. So you see them less of as a threat and more of a, you know, a friend. Like, it's just like where Alan lives out on the, you know, distant shores of Exmouth, in a small village populated by small numbers of people. Like, it's not worldly wise, it's not cosmopolitan. Like, I'm quite lucky that the tourist town that I live in, Stratford-upon-Avon, is quite cosmopolitan. Like, you get people from all over the world coming through as tourists to stay for a season, to watch the the theatre, to work in the restaurants and cafes and things. And, you know, I'm lucky to have known lots of different people from all over the world simply by merit of them passing through my lovely little town. But also, I've been around a bit of the world as well and met people. That helped. Alan just seems to have this parochial view of, like, the world, that, like, his view of London is his own from outside of London. He is not a Londoner, and therefore is casting judgment without understanding again.
My father wouldn't recognise from when he was alive in the Second World War.
City of London is actually considered its own country tax-wise. I kind of hear what you're saying, Sickweed. I think in the past it was, like, you know, sectioned off legally. But I don't know exactly today if that really counts as you can get a passport for City of London, if you know what I mean. It might just be sort of a bureaucratic, you know, bit of historical bureaucracy rather than, like, them having their own legal system that's different. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's a bit like that common law thing that people go on about, like, you know, being a common law citizen and stuff, and, like, you still get arrested, they still tear you away. Funny old treaties and whatever don't really pass mustard these days, even though you might find a loophole that sounds a bit like you can still pee in a policeman's helmet on a, you know, third Sunday if you're pregnant. It just, you know, we're in the modern world, and funny little strange carryovers like that I don't think really mean he needs to be put in the Tower of London. Maybe that's why he always gets the tower from Trisha. Big ups. Maybe though, maybe you're right. You know, I'm not that same as Washington DC. Now, I know nothing really about that Washington DC, so I'll just bow to your opinion there, I guess, because I don't know. Stab a Welshman on a bridge in Chester, exactly. You know, there's always something you're allowed to do under the law that if you actually did it, then you would still get arrested for today's modern laws, and they would just ignore everything you said and put you in prison. So I think there's a difference between interesting colloquial legality that you can trace and talk about and, you know, make an interesting YouTube short about, and the truth of the matter, if you did it with a policeman in the vicinity, whether, like, you know, what would really happen in the real world. So
this is what's worrying me for my grandchildren and my children. Are we going to face this in our streets? I'm not saying these people would do the same, but this is London. The mindset, after you've seen what's happened, this is London right now.
So I've not shown you war atrocities, but on both sides they have been committed over the last 10, 20 years. Obviously this most recent attack by Hamas is particularly egregious. I'm not going to contest that. You know, I'm saying it's bad, remember. But the people in the streets in London are not, this is not a community of illegal immigrants here. This is Palestinian sympathisers and people of Palestinian origin making up a Palestinian community in London. So, you know, I think personally they're quite, I should respect their rights and their opinions as much as I don't agree with everything. Like, it seems a little bit tasteless to protest in this way in the wake of those, like, you know, kidnappings and horrible things. But then again, some of those kidnappers and horrible things didn't yeah, in the wake of that it seems a bit inappropriate. However, then the retaliation from Israel and our country's declaration of allegiance to Israel then provokes this, doesn't it? So I can understand their feelings, let's say that.
Taken over.
This protest is a call for help, says Slick Willy D. Yeah, you see what I mean? I can understand their feelings. And again, I'm not being fence-sitting here, and I'm not just trying to be a centralist or impartial, but I think that it's important that we try to work towards peace. So any form of push for conflict or public display of, like, the problem I've got, like, in the same way as I don't like the fact that those men from Hamas did those bad war things, because now you can point and say Hamas are bad, Israel good. I don't like the way some of these protests get a little bit intimidating, and that's the point of them. But I worry that the escalation from this to violence is not far off, and that then sets a bad tone for the agenda that's trying to be addressed. And I'm not saying, oh, well, I'm in charge of protest now and we should all do what I say, but you know, I've got worries, I've got feelings. I do protest things sometimes, but I don't just turn up at every protest and just do whatever. Like, I really think about it sometimes, about it, and this is one of those.
Part of London to support this barbarous attack.
Well, not. You see, Alan's paraphrased their reasons there, hasn't he?
London.
He's
not Israel,
misquoted
not
them.
Tel Aviv, not the Gaza Strip, London.
I mean, what I've said, this doesn't look like a violent protest, but it, they've focused on this person with the flare. You know, it's the way the news presents it. Maybe, you know, maybe this doesn't seem as. This is totally about perspective, because this doesn't seem as intimidating if this is your community and that's your house and you've come outside your house to wave your flag and everyone's in agreement with you. That doesn't feel intimidating. In fact, it might have a bit more of a uplifting feel. But if you're marching through the Jewish neighbourhood like this, then it might be a bit different. So, you know, it's all about context and about how it's presented and perceived, isn't it?
I remember many years ago seeing this sort of stuff in Iran, and they go in and they go into a church and kill people. How much would it take? How much would it take for this tinderbox for something like this to happen in London or New York?
Right. Again, see, now he's built this up. Now I'm seeing down, now the camera's panned down a bit. It does look like there might be quite a few young people, different kinds of faces. This does seem a bit more like a peaceful protest than an aggressive looting of the streets. There's a lot of placards, people chanting. I think this is not likely to turn into a murder crew. I think this looks a lot more like a sort of, maybe, you know, modern liberal left-leaning attempt to, it says free Palestine, you know, I guess they're Palestinian sympathisers.
Or Sydney. This is my country.
Alan says, this is my country.
My England.
My England.
What the hell?
What the hell, he says. I mean, what? Me personally, I feel like I could walk freely amongst that crowd and, like, you know, just feel no worry. Like, that's how I personally feel. Of course, it was a group of Israeli sympathisers and they were all out there protesting. I feel like I could walk freely amongst that crowd as well, no worry. I don't see, like, I'm not threatened by this, I suppose. Again, if it's a community in London and this is on the streets of that, or is this, it's, I don't know the context, is this like a main shopping high street and they've taken over sort of the city centre and it seems more threatening to the population en masse that a smaller ethnic group have taken over the city centre? Is that what's being portrayed here? Or is this just a reasonable protest by people who sympathise with and have roots in Palestine, but mainly Londoners who just think, stop the war, free Palestine, stop doing the bombing, please give them some food and water? Like, it's a spectrum, I suppose, isn't it? Like,
there's 5,000 of them now, tonight, in London.
Looks like a lot of young people. Like,
supporting what you saw.
Down the bottom of the screen there was just some, like,
there's 5,000 of them now.
Like, in the gloom, just in the bottom, on the other side of the screen there.
Tonight,
it's like just young people walking through, look. White t-shirt, kid there, someone on the phone.
What you saw.
It's like young people just milling about. I know that quite often I've got friends who live in London, and their culture, like, when I say their culture, I'm not like saying like, you know, some special London culture, but just like normal people that live in London, and stuff goes on and they're like, I'm going to go out and have a look. I live in London. It's just like, my friend would like, he would 100% have ridden his bike to this, not because he's got a strong iron and political fire, but because there's something going on in the city streets, and why not go down, you know, ride your bike down and, you know, wander about, get yourself a kebab, have a chat to some people, live the life. Like, it's London, it's a busy, vibrant city. So this protest is not a mass of like immigrant rapers. Like, this is even, it feels almost semi-carnival atmosphere in a way, if you know what I mean. Like, there's a lot of people out just for the humdrum, not the humdrum, the buzz and the, you know, the vibrancy of something happening. Like, there's a lot of young people just milling around. Like, I would say it's probably 70% people that are there for the reasons that they're there, and probably 30% of people that just come out to have a look.
Well, that frightens me. That frightens me for the future.
You should be able to hear Alan talking to his microphone, but you can't. He said, that frightened me, that frightens me for the future.
What if there was a full-scale war? Whose side would these people be on?
Palestine. Are you saying about between Palestine and Israel? They'd be on Palestine's side.
UK or the enemy?
Oh, sorry, the UK or the enemy? Well, who are the enemy? And why are we fighting them? Why has the United Kingdom suddenly gone to war? We don't do that, actually, Alan. We're part of the United Nations peacekeeping treaties, so we don't go to war in that way. The UK, like, theoretically, and I've said that, you know, we've been out bombing Afghanistan and Syria, haven't we? But theoretically, you know, we're supposed to be part of an international treaty where, like, we keep peace rather than go to war with places. But I don't know. If there was, because we recently had a war with Afghanistan and Syria, and I suppose you could say, couldn't you? These people might have been not on the side of either because they just live in the UK and want to go about their daily business unmolested and not have to deal with the war. That's why they live here. So a lot of them are protesting against the war. Are you saying that if there was a war between, I don't know, the UK and the enemy, these people would take up arms against the corrupt UK and just start murdering people in the streets? And look at how many of them there are. So we should probably want to go around locking these people up, if anything. If anything, we want to be taking names here, don't we? I'll tell you who you want to take a word out, Alan. Tell you who you have a little word with. That man, that Adolf man, you know, him with the moustache and the fringe. You know, that man. The man that you did your painting of. You know, your painting of your man. You want to talk to him. You know, the fellow with the moustache and the fringe. That's what you do. You dehumanise them. Turn them into the victim. Make sure there's a reason to go at them. It's probably, if anything, we should probably start rounding them up and put them in camps. Make sure they don't randomly go out and start populating in the streets. Shouldn't we? We should keep them all together, camp them up, decide what to do with them. We'd have to work out on it. We'd have to try and work on a solution. Do you know what I mean? What's he saying? Alan's just at the thin end of the wedge of what the fat cake is of fascism, basically. That's what Alan's talking about here.
I don't want to get involved in politics, but I know that these people are coming in.
I don't want to get involved in politics. How long have I been talking about this now? It's like nearly 2 hours I've been on the internet. I don't want to get involved in politics.
Thousands a month, and they're all young men. And you can imagine how they could congregate. And what would they do if they went knocking on doors in London? What if this mob decided? I don't bear thinking about, does it?
Well, I tell you what. This is one of the problems of our social political system, is that by undercutting the police force, you make people more scared of crime. And then when crime gets a little bit out of hand because you've undercut the police force, then you can say, oh, we need to come down heavy on crime. Vote for us. We will come heavy on crime. In fact, we'll create new laws to make sure that criminals are even more, and yes, new laws to stop your human rights and to make sure we can lock you up for longer. because of crime, of course, which we could have stopped in the first place by just funding the fucking police. Yeah, like there's a bit of a problem there. But what would happen if this group of not young, they're not all men, right? It's a mixed social group here. What would happen if they all started banging down doors is the police would fucking turn up en masse, and there'd be loads of police and there'd be loads of these people, and then if it got even more out of hand, I don't think you would see the army. You know what I mean? I don't think you would see the army. Unless it was like terror. Like, I imagine when, I don't know what goes on with like terror situations, maybe the army can be brought in, but the army are not to turn their guns on their own people. Like, they protect the people, that's what they're for. But you would see the police turn up en masse. One interesting thing you don't see here is in this crowd there will be undercover police people. There will probably be one or two of those operatives that I talked about that infiltrate community groups looking for terrorists and cells, maybe even, you know, maybe there's someone from the MI5 in that group, maybe. You won't see them, will you, because they'll be undercover. Undercover police people will be in the crowd, but there's not a heavy police presence. Don't know if you noticed that. They haven't got like loads and loads of like, you know, strong horsey policemen and like armed police with all shields, because it turns out that you don't have to aggressively police your own population in that way. Like, we're not looking for that. We're not hoping for that, are we? And this is our own population, as much as Anna wants to say that they're separate from us and different people. In fact, by not roughly and robustly policing it, this can pass off quite peacefully as a protest, and you don't sort of pack that powder keg and create that spark. So yeah, if they did go on a rampage, then I imagine that you would just get the police involved. And I imagine that the way the police works as well is that, assuming they're not rampaging in every city and every town, like assuming we're not actually being physically, literally invaded, like, and everyone goes like, because my parents' nationality by birth is of a different country from the country I live in, I've decided to turn feral and rise up with my brothers and take down the masters and like burn everything to the ground. Assuming that doesn't happen, like some sort of weird, like dystopian social, like Mad Max situation, I think what's more likely is that integration would be the key. Like, rather than trying to force instability and divide, integration is the key to stopping that from happening, because most of those people won't want to kick your door in if they like you and they're your friend and that, like, you're out there with them sympathizing with their problems. Like, I don't know. So yeah, we'd have the police, and I was going to say you'd ship in the police. Like when Thatcher wanted to deal with the football hooliganism in the 80s, she basically said, look, I don't care about you, meet the police, not the police you know from your area, not the police from your area that are friends with your local family and, you know, Bobby on the beat, but meet the police from not your area who are going to smash your teeth in. Strike, miners strike, meet the police. We're going to ship them up from London. So I think if this was kicking off in London big style, then you would meet the police from all over the country who would be shipped in to just fucking deal with it. And I don't think you'd need to worry about an army of Arabs. And I don't think that it would turn into a sort of race war either. I think that's like far-reaching fantasist stuff. Far-reaching fantasist stuff, because there are other cultures with other, you know, integration issues. We're not the only culture in the world that's mixed, and up to this point we haven't seen, like, in America there's been race war, but that was so that they could have equality, wasn't it? But like, we haven't really seen examples of what Anna's talking about, and maybe we're right at the forefront of this, and maybe we're right at the front of it and we're going to be the first one, but it's most likely that's not going to be the case, isn't it? So
does not bear thinking about the danger that the West is in, because we arrogantly, in America, in the UK, are letting these people in without any passports.
Oh, here we go.
Without any thought to what they're going to do.
Buffering.
To the country we live in. Streets of London.
Panic on the streets of London.
Thousands of pro-Palestinian.
Buffering.
I'm sorry, I get this business. Let's get rid of that.
Get rid of that. It's a nice way to finish tonight. He's had his buffer.
That is frightening, right? is a real and present danger in Western countries of letting this mass migration. I don't even want to call it a country, a continent who have a totally different outlook to life to us, who have Sharia law, who have you're not allowed to be a lesbian, you're gay. What the heck are we doing?
Yeah, in our culture, you are allowed to be a lesbian and gay, and we don't have Sharia law, so they have to abide by those cultural norms over here. What we're doing is integrating. The reason you have a Chinese takeaway and you're not scared that the Chinese people at the Chinese takeaway are going to come and fucking mug you off in the night and turn you into a Chinese national, and there's going to be a Chinese takeover from within, is because just people integrated and it's just okay, and then they're all friends. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you what's fucking weird as well is to hear this out of the mouth of this guy who, I'm the same. Well, I'm not actually. I'm a bit more, I've got Indian blood in me, haven't I? But this man is aged white male, parochial outlook from a small village, not a big city, cosmopolitan fellow, and our British Empire, the imperial British Empire, we're talking about cultures being destroyed from within by immigrant populations, and we went all over the world and destroyed all the cultures and took everything over and sort of asserted ourselves as the immigrate. We turned up and invaded, and then he's profiting off all of that, in his lovely house. It's lovely, lucky to be alive in Britain. I love Britain. Britain's so great because I've got all this stuff that I didn't do anything for. I'm like the spoiled child that inherited it all, on a social, global sort of scale, historical, social, global scale. And even to not be affluent in the UK and just be able to collect basic benefits and stuff like that is still a big step up from not being affluent in, I don't know, India or somewhere else. He's so angry about all these poor people who want to come here and just survive and live. And the irony of it all, there's going to be a, Alan in his life as well, everything he's managed to sum it all up to, he's not much more of a hill of beans than any of these people have got just coming in off a boat. Alan's not Elon Musk. He's managed to get himself a small house. Do you know what I mean? Alan's not doing much better than these people that just come in off the boat. In fact, a lot of them go in jobs and work harder and do better than Alan. In 10 years' time, a lot of the people who are just climbing off the boat with no passport will be doing a lot better than Alan, contributing to society, paying tax and being a good chuffer. And long live them and fuck Alan.
They're coming over here.
Other poor people are not your enemy, okay? Other poor, someone who's coming off a boat with nothing is not your enemy. It's the people at the top end who run the hotels that are taking the money so they can have full hotels. Ha ha ha. Big pay packets from taxpayers going into my pocket. It's the people that are fucking you over on the energy and electricity deal. It's all the rich Tories. They're your enemy. If someone's really, really fucking rich and they're having it away, and you're struggling on the breadline, and so is someone else, and you push someone out of the way on the breadline because this person on the breadline is my enemy, and I'm pushing them out of the way, and it's the people that are fucking hoarding all the bread. The real revolution, the real people on the streets and outrage and change in society should not be worrying about immigrants, because they're a very small number of people. In total population stuff, it's not big numbers that Alan's, we talked about this before about people off the boats. It's if all the poor people in the UK, all the kids in poverty, all the the people that are being stiffed on their universal credit or PIP payment or whatever, it's if all those people got together and fucking ate the rich. That would be the real swing that they're scared of. So to keep you from being focused on that, they have you get eggy and angry about other poor people that should be your friend. Because as a political group, it's the poor and the rich scale, and like, oh, I'm not poor like immigrants, like some immigrant. I'm not poor like some immigrant. Like, we're all just normal working people, and we're down the one end, and then the Boris Johnsons and the David Camerons and the, you know, whoever else is, they're at the other end, and they're the fucking enemy. Like, get it right.
And they will breed 3 times as fast as us. They will have 3 children to every one of the...
Brilliant. Now we're getting proper, full-on racist Nazism. Like eugenics now. We're getting eugenics.
We have Sharia law, who have, like, you're not allowed to be a lesbian, you're gay. What the heck are we doing? They're coming over here, and they will breed 3 times as fast as us. They will have 3 children to every one of the citizens of the UK, and before you know it, they'll be making up the laws. They'll be making up the laws. Don't you see it? I guess you do.
Wow.
It is absolutely frightening for our grandchildren, everyone.
Like, you wouldn't want any of those fucking, you know, Albanians to be fucking coming over here and starting a new life for themselves, would you, Alan? You know, any of those Syrians to be coming in through Turkey and starting a new life for themselves in the UK and doing well for themselves. That would be bad, wouldn't it? Fucking hell. Big up Snips. Exactly. You just tuned in. What's he saying? This is to sum up as well. He's being racist about Israel, Palestine, and he's fully on the side of, like, 100% on the side of Israel. Burn all those Palestinians, burn them. I mean, it's a viewpoint, and I've talked extensively about humanitarianism on today's episode. Big up Snips. It's nice to see you anyway. How are things in your world? Oh, he's fitting right in with the Rumble crowd then, maybe. Oh, I thought the Rumble crowd might be sort of anti-Israel, because I thought that on Rumble, Joe Biden might be giving money to, like, because this is an American thing, and I don't know, but isn't Joe Biden sort of like pro-Israel, and isn't he like giving money to Israel, and isn't it like that, like in America people are like, you know, fuck Joe Biden, and I know they don't like the Arabs, like fuck the Arabs as well, but like, obviously I'm not saying that, it's like a, you know, Donald Trump thing, but I would have thought that they'd be cross about, like, I know on Rumble the conspiracy theory people might be like, you know, angry about the Jews or something. I don't know. It's crazy busy in your world. Hopefully that's good to be busy. The war drums are beating. Yeah, everyone loves a good war, I suppose, don't they? Everyone loves to be able to blow up all their guns and rockets and put up all their firecrackers in a big pile and blow everything up. So maybe the people just like it because it's going to be a war. I don't know. Obviously, I don't think that. Let's have a little bit more on, and then I'll just finish by saying what I was going to say about him.
I don't want you to think light of this just last for a day or so.
Now he's onto the news again. So I am finished with Alan there, because the way he finishes his episode, he's like this.
From the kibbutz.
Talking about the kibbutz. He's off in the corner.
That's what she would say to them who are holding their families. She would urge them, think about your own mother.
Nice. He goes in real hard for the emotional outcry, like the poor children, the kibbutz, the poor women, because the ladies in his chat haven't given him any money.
White House is expecting a lot more American deaths.
And he pushed it hard on America, look, because the American ladies in his chat might want to give him some money. Oh, his chat is, like always, it's just 4 people. It's Kakat, Liz, Nancy, Michelle, Sam I Am VIP, and Spicy Lady. Like, there was just like 4 or 5 of them. It's not anything happening.
There's a number of Americans on the count of 4, and Britons as well.
Let's watch him peter out.
I came back to, how did they not know it was coming? How did they not know it was coming that morning for those children?
You were coming that morning for the children, Alan.
I'm going to leave it there, and our prayers are with everyone on both sides.
What? Your prayers are with everyone on both sides. For about an hour and 40 minutes, you fucking absolutely laid into the Palestinians. You said they were going to come to our country, breed in the masses, take over. And you basically want Palestinians all dead and gone, wipe them out like roaches, I think you said. Well, you didn't say that, but...
and especially for our Mr. Pickles.
Especially for Mr. Pickles, who, with this serious tone, now seems to have quite a silly name.
It's certainly a sad day for the world today.
Sad day.
Thank you for watching.
Sad day for Alan as well, because he didn't get much money out of that.
I was in the Patreon tonight, but I'm not in any state now.
Drunk.
I will see you tomorrow. Definitely see you tomorrow. Good night.
Not doing a patron, huh? Nope, not doing a patron. So what's really interesting with this, the glory for me here, the beauty, is that on Super Chuffer earlier I did a stream, just a cheeky, because Steve's in hospital, his back operation has happened, we think successful, I'm going to say successful, insofar as vertebrae fused, you know, box ticked. But from what I've seen, I'm ignorant, aren't I? You know, I looked into it a bit more. Fusing of the vertebrae and cutting you open at the spine and fusing your vertebrae is quite the operation, actually. And he's in pain, and I think because this is me again. This is, I know, Snippies, you might be able to tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think he was on a waiting list a lot longer than he was supposed to be. Partly because of COVID, partly because of our government being shit. Although we don't pay for it, so actually it's quite good. But we think it should be a bit more super duper than it is, and they should pay them more. Anyway, look, he was on a waiting list for a bit, and he was given pain relief medication for a while. I think he might have become sort of desensitized to the pain relief medication a bit, because when you go into hospital and then you have the operation, they give you the pain relief medication in hospital. If you've already been taking it for a while, maybe it's not as, like, maybe whatever's standard in the hospital is not what you're, you know, maybe you've become a bit tolerant. Okay, tolerant, yeah. So I think Steve is suffering now because of that long waiting period approaching has given him a tolerance, because in hospital they're not going to say, oh, tolerant aren't you, well, why don't you take an extra half tonight? You know, they're not going to do that, whereas you at home can probably do that. I'm not saying that Steve's getting addicted to painkillers, and I'm not saying he's been overusing them, but what I'm saying is that you just moderate your own use at home, whereas in hospital they moderate it for you. So suddenly it's taken out of your hands and you're suddenly in the most pain because they've just done the operation. And I think he's in a difficult situation there, brought on by the fact that he had a long lead-in, I don't know what I'm saying, a long lead into the operation, that's the word, because of waiting lists and, you know, and things getting put back. But successful though, meaning standing up on his own without support, and, like, you know, I'm just like fingers crossed that he's stressed about sugar he consumes. Remember the Lucozade? I'm the same. We'll both be according to Slinky Socks, I'm going to be diabetic. We'll both be diabetics. But yeah, like hopefully, like, you know, so because he's out of the hospital and he's awake, not out of the hospital, sorry, he's awake, like, that's good, and he needs to get through the pain, it needs to heal. Then they start doing, from what I've learned as well, they start doing back operations, physiotherapy, but they let it heal first. They're not going to start tweaking you around straight off in case you break it. So there's going to be a process of time. But yeah, he's on that process anyway. So because of that, thus not happened for 3 weeks now, right? And I'm not like, oh no, shit. I'm like, it's okay. Like, this channel has ups and downs, lulls, and there'll be times when it has like lots of eyes on it because of something that happens, maybe like a, you know, more popular video or subject, and there'll be times where it goes on a bit of a lull maybe, but I'm looking to try and take it up a step in content creation next year, so whatever happens, this has still got another level to be pushed on. But yeah, so we dropped a video anyway. Derek Johnson body language streamed out of the blue. First stream in 3 weeks, so not loads of views, but I don't care. I'm not like, you know, I'm not like, oh, loads of views, brilliant. Not loads of views, shit. I thought this was a really good one. This one, it's a case just like, I don't know if you've seen this in America, the Derek Johnson stuff. It's a case just like Chris Watts. It's an Armchair Detective case. It's just like Chris Watts. I mean, Alan's going to see this now and he's going to copy it He's going to be on this now. It's going to be his thing for the next 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 weeks, isn't it? Alan's going to be on this now because Scotty Hottie told him what to do. Again, didn't he? Scotty Hottie told you what to do, Alan. But I had a good stream of this, and we've got another good one tomorrow. And at the same time, Alan did that fucking awful this thing. So it feels like this weird paradigm shift where I'm doing all right on YouTube and things are good, and Alan's doing awful shit work on Rumble and things are bad. It's like he's in the shit room and he's eating the shit. Like, why did you do that whole show about, like, everyone's talked about that, the news about that, haven't they? Everyone's talked about that. It's all on the news. Alan's no expert. Like, I've just taken apart what he's done and shown you what a disgusting shitbag he is. But actually what he should have done, he's talked about, like, the case that, like, that's his territory. Like, you'd have loved that. It's too late now. Scotty Super Chuffer's done it first, and if he ever does it, you're all going to know that he listens to Super Chuffer, and that Super Chuffer's the one that Alan steals his ideas off, and that Super Chuffer's the winner and Alan's the piece of shit. And if Alan actually covers this at any point, then I'm going to absolutely have him for that. He knows it. Like, it's going to be Scotty Hottie's the king and Alan is the little stupid rascal, because Scotty Hottie's got there first, Alan copies Scotty Hottie, and it doesn't matter if Alan pretends to see a secret. No one cares what Alan says about this on Rumble. It's too late now, Alan. You're not on YouTube, you're on Rumble, so you can't ride the... If he still had his channel, if he hadn't had a go at Super Chuffer, if he hadn't stolen my content, if he hadn't called me son, then he could have done this on YouTube and made big bucks. He would be bonanza bucks today. It would be the new Nicola Bully for him. But you watch, even if he tries it on Rumble, he'll do it for a couple of weeks. It'll be the same people in chat. It won't even matter. Never going to happen for him. He's never going to grow any further than he is now. Scotty Hottie leading the way now, doing what Alan wished he could do on YouTube. But it is a really tragic case. And I'm looking into it again tomorrow on stream. And then tomorrow what I'll do is I'll follow it up with the more fun video. Snippies, you know Martin Leaker? You know, he does watch, you're right, he watches and learns. He adapts, because I teach him how to run his streams, so he adapts based on what I'm saying. But the truth of it is, if he knows, because I'm saying it, I'm not just saying it to be mean, it doesn't matter now. I can give him all the tips in the world, it doesn't matter. He can come on stream tomorrow with a solid gold, like, hat, you know, and like have he could literally go on stream to Chris Watts. He could break Chris Watts out of prison, bring him over to the UK, have him as a live guest on his stream, where you can only ask Chris questions if you sign up to Alan's Patreon, right? And he still wouldn't get any numbers because he's off the mainstream viral circuit. He's off. He's gone. He's done. You know, you get blacklisted by YouTube. You don't think you're going to be popular on, like, Instagram, do you? Because you're blacklisted on YouTube. So you do realise that means that, like, Instagram, for example, or another platform, like, you know, you can link YouTube to Rumble, don't you? You know that YouTube and Rumble talk, don't you? Like, you know that the higher ups, like, have a list of people who are banned, and, like, Rumble know who are and aren't banned for what reason, because they're about to have them on their website. Like, that's just Rumble for you. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, Alan is done. He's blacklisted. He's persona non grata, blackball. Like, no amount of viral trending, paying for subscribers, none of it. Doesn't matter. Done. Talk about what you want. Get Chris Watts on your show live. Have him, you know, reveal that. Get Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger to kiss on your show. You still won't clear more than 5,000 people. And that's only because you'll inflate the numbers yourself. You know Martin Leakey, yeah? Right, well, we saw him yesterday, right? Big up Snips, check this out. Yesterday, he was on the show, on his show. This is incredible. So, Kurt, that's going on YouTube. Enjoy that, YouTube. Go and watch Derek Johnson Body Language on Super Chuffer, you nutters. Martin Lear